This is Hall County Sports, brought to you by Green Ford on Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville. Check out the latest deals. Remember, when you go Green Ford. By Mountain View Auto Repair, a full-service shop for all of your automotive needs. Call Danny at Mountain View Auto Repair, 770-535-7278. And by McKelvey Road United Methodist Church. Visit us on McKelvey Road in Oakwood. With 3 worship services, Kids Town, and adult small groups, McKelvey Road United Methodist Church, dedicated to transforming the world through the good news of Jesus Christ. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Hall County Sports Television. I'm your host, Gary Glenn. Now, we're going to start the show this week with a little bit of a different piece. Bill Lofton has been around sports pretty much all of his life. One of the sons of legendary football coach Jim Lofton, who also coached other sports, amongst them wrestling and baseball at times. Well, Bill was reared in a sports household. He played football for his dad at Jefferson and wrestled his way to a state championship for the Dragons under another legend, Jack Keane. After a stint in the Navy, Bill later worked as a gourmet chef. Well, he got kind of tired of that and went back to school and is now on yet another career, that of a photographer with a heavy emphasis on sports. And we bring to the show now Bill Lofton, a guy that I have known pretty much all of his life and almost all of my life as well for a long, long time. Thanks for taking some time out, Billy, to come in.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit now about how you first, I guess growing up with Coach Lofton and 4 brothers, you had no choice but to be some sort of athlete, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty given situation.
and then I know that your background was, as I said, in football. What did you played at linebacker and played at what, about $130?
Topped out at maybe 138 during when dripping wet.
Yeah, and then went to wrestling. You finished on the medal stand all 4 years in high school, right?
Yeah, I got second twice, fourth once, and my senior year I won it all.
So was it worth it? All that
Absolutely.
That
It definitely changed me as a person. I know what it's like to win, and I definitely know what it's like to lose, and how to handle yourself in both situations.
So then you decided to go in the Navy. What possessed you to do that?
Wanted to see the world. What else did you join the Navy?
And did you?
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of the Mediterranean, Italy, Yugoslavia, a lot of Spain, all up and down the East Coast, pretty much East Coast Mediterranean type situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then from being in the military and a career athlete, and then you get involved in cooking. Tell me how that came about. I don't know that you've ever really told me that, as long as I've known you.
Well, I came back to Gainesville after I got out of the service and was staying with Mom and Dad briefly, and started to go back to school at North Georgia College. I took a job as a dishwasher, just to make some extra money.
Mm-hmm.
The VA was putting me through school, and I figured, I make a little extra money to do whatever I needed, and I took a job as a dishwasher. And the chef said that they were going to, would I be interested in learning how to be a cook? And 30 years later, I didn't go back to school, and I told the chef that I was going to not go back this semester. I was going to skip a semester. And he said, well, you're going to be a cook. And for 30 years, that's what I did. Mm-hmm. And I gradually went up the chain and ended up as an executive chef in several different country clubs and restaurants. Mm-hmm. And I was a certified chef de cuisine via the American Culinary Federation.
All right. Well, I'll tell you now, I've had a lot of Bill's food, and he is really good, and his preparation is exquisite. But then you just do a total change of direction. As I said, you've been around sports all your life, but then you got involved in a little bit of sports photography and videography and decided you want to do that for a career. How did that decision come about?
Well, I've always had a passion for photography. I've owned several cameras and started off with a little C110 Kodak. I know everybody that's my age or older knows about those cameras, and I've gradually bought cameras all the way up. And I took some pictures of the planet Mars several years ago when it was supposed to be so big mm-hmm. and so red. And I sat out in the field in the middle of the night, was all excited about it, and I got home and I had the little red dots, about 40 of them. That's all it was, a little red dot. I mean, you just couldn't even tell what it was. And I wanted to know why, because it looked very big on the frame. And I was like, this was back in film days. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why? And so I started studying, researching, and started buying nicer cameras, started going to DSLRs, and started off with a totally no automatic anything. I was winding my film, and I had manual focus on my camera, and rewind it yourself. It was everything you could get manual. And then I went up another level to a camera where it was the rewinder was not manual, it was automatic. And then I went to another camera where it had automatic focus, and then that was wonderful. The automatic focus is something, it's unbelievable how much difference it makes. And then I got into, I got to the point where I was at, the film was switching over to digital. And I went a couple of years with still shooting film, and then I got over to digital cameras, and I bought a couple of those to where I am now with a Nikon D700. I had the opportunity to go back to school, and I took it.
Yeah, Gwinnett Tech. Right?
Gwinnett Technical College is a great school. The instructors there you cannot compare them to anybody in the state of Georgia.
All right, so now I know that you shoot other things, but you really have a strong emphasis on sports.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the things you've covered and some of the favorite things you've done.
Well, right now I'm a staff photographer for the Gwinnett Braves, and that is, if you haven't never been to a Gwinnett Braves game, you need to go. There's not a bad seat at Coolray. It's very entertaining. The team's very good, and you're close to the players where you can actually see what's going on versus being up in the top seats and the players are like this,
right.
like the Atlanta Braves. You really can't see what's going on to me. I also shoot marathons.
Yeah, just got back from one.
Yeah, I did the Raleigh marathon, the rock and roll marathon in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So what's that like? I mean, how do you set up on the course? Do you set at the finish line? What do you do?
I was about 100 yards from the finish, sitting dead in the middle of the street. They were running on both sides of me, and I was sitting in a chair. And we started getting runners around 8 o'clock, and they quit coming at about 1 o'clock. And my job is to catch them in frame and shoot as many as I can as they come by.
How did you get into that? Was it just something you fell into? Because I think you've shot Peachtree a time or two, haven't you?
A friend of mine found out about this when I was in school, and found out about this and told me about it. And I jumped on the bandwagon with him while I was in school, and now I've been shooting for them. I shot for Bright Room, and they were bought out by Marathon Photo, and I've been shooting for Marathon now for 2 years. And yeah, I've shot the Peachtree Road Race, shot the Savannah Marathon, I've shot some of the Tough Mudder events, which are, for the life of me, I had no clue why these people do this.
What do they do?
Well, basically they run through mud. They're mud pits, and it's like a 5K or something, and they have like 8 or 9 mud pits that you run through. And the last ones, they have electrical leads, like 300 electrical leads that come down that you got to go under the leads, and you're going to get popped. And in the mud at the same time. So you're like, really?
Why would anybody do that?
And the Tough Mudder I shot down here in Conyers out at the horse track.
And you also done some motorsports, though. Rode Atlanta, shot the Petit Le Mans.
Yeah, I shot at the Petit Le Mans the last 3 years, and it's really enjoyable. I really enjoy that. It's 3 days I cut out in my schedule those 3 days, and I'm going to be there. I mean, period. And my good friend Gary Glenn's good enough to help me out with the credentials. I shoot for your program.
Yeah, you do. We featured a lot of Bill's stuff on here as well. And did some videography, I think, though, during football season for the Times and all.
Yeah, I did videography for the Times for 2 years, and
shot some still football for the Spartans, West Hall.
Yeah, I shot for Coach out there at West Hall.
And I think you've even shot a weightlifting meet or two that I've been involved in.
I've shot a couple I shot the Georgia games a couple years ago. I've shot the kayaking national championship. I shot the state wrestling meet here in Buford.
Out of all of this stuff, Bill, what do you like best? What do you like to do?
I really love the road racing.
The motorsports.
Yeah, I love the motorsports. It's one thing about my job now is the fact that I'm not tied down to really anything, and I really like that. And the fact that, such as my youngest daughter is going to graduate from high school, and there was no thought process of how do I get out of work at the restaurant on a Friday night. It was no thought process. It was, of course I'll be there.
Right.
And I'm enjoying that freedom that I haven't had in 30 years as a freelance photographer.
Well, what do you hope to do with this? Just keep going?
Just keep going, improve, shoot more and more. As I was taught, Gwinnett Tech, the more you shoot, the better you get. I'm still a beginner. I really feel that. I've got so much I can learn, and I'm enjoying the learning process. But it's basically living a dream.
Cool. And what do you think your preparation as an athlete has prepared you for this? Is there any life lessons you learned?
Some of the situations are kind of tough. The marathons, you sit there for 4.5 hours, and you have to focus and you have to discipline yourself to keep shooting, and you just for 4 hours. I mean, I shot this weekend. I shot 11,896 photographs Sunday.
Wow.
At the marathon.
Man.
That's a lot of photography, and I shot the same amount at Peachtree last year. It's the travel is long. It's you're sleeping in hotels, which isn't fun. You have to focus and you have to discipline yourself in a lot of ways, because the trick is to get the shot. Right. Even not like marathons, some other types of sports like the baseball, you have to anticipate. You have to know the game, and that helps. Football, if somebody's going to pitch out and the running back's running directly at you, you got to know to get out of the way. And it helps me as a former athlete to know to get out of the way. I've seen a mom with a camera get clobbered on the sidelines at Flower Branch a couple years ago.
Wow.
Took her little monopod and bent it like this. And I'm like, I saw them coming. I just stepped out of the way.
Yeah.
She didn't, because she didn't know they were coming.
Well, Bill, thanks for coming in. And, of course, we'll be using some of your stuff, I'm sure, here on Hall County Sports in the future. Thanks,
it's a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bill Lofton, sports photographer extraordinaire. We appreciate him taking time out of his schedule to come in and be with us. Now, Bill mentioned the fact that he shot some of the canoe and kayaking out at the venue. We're going to check in at that venue in the next segment when Hall County Sports continues.
Turner Wood & Smith is with you every step of the way. Established in the Gainesville area in 1905. Turner Wood & Smith has become Northeast Georgia's largest independent insurance agency by offering professional service at competitive prices. Turner Wood & Smith, insuring your future since 1905.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Gary Glenn, and the show is Hall County Sports. Now, very few things left over from Olympic Games stay in their original form. They get changed to other things. For example, the Olympic Stadium in Atlanta for track and field is now Turner Field. But one of the glaring exceptions to that rule is the Olympic venue right here in Hall County at Lake Lanier. That's been pretty much in continuous use for its original major purposes since it was built. And that's pretty much rowing and canoe and kayaking and all the training and stuff associated with that. But since it has been 18 years since the 1996 Olympic Games, things need some tender loving care. And we want to congratulate Morgan House, who is the new manager of the Lake Lanier Olympic venue, charged with helping to restore the facility and attract visitors and business. Now, Morgan does have a bachelor's degree in marketing and public relations from Asheville University, also a former executive of the Boy Scouts, and most recently served as a high-performance canoe-kayak coach for the Lanier Canoe and Kayak Club, and he plans to continue that, I understand, on a part-time basis. And Morgan House joins us on the set now. Am I accurate, or is that you going to still coach a little bit?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, now I know we've talked to Morgan before in various times, mostly as an athlete, of course. Recently as a coach, we had you on a little bit of that. Refresh the folks out there, though, about how you came to be involved in canoe and kayaking. Now, you're not a real old guy, so I said it's been 18 years since the 96 Olympic Games. But so how did you first get involved in noticing this particular sport?
Well, I first got involved back in 1995. I was sitting out on my dock fishing, and I saw a few of the older boys from my school were paddling kayaks around my dock. So I thought, well, that looks like fun. So I went out there and started kayaking, and I fell in love with it. And then, of course, the 96 Olympics came the next year, and so I went and watched it, and then I just haven't stopped since.
And this is something which has literally taken you all over the world.
Yes, it has. Yep.
And that's an experience that, well, you never forget that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I've been to Europe and back at least 10 times, Australia 3 times, China, Japan, Mexico, Canada, all over the U.S., all because of kayaking.
Yeah, well, I've done some traveling because of my weightlifting. Isn't it funny, Morgan, that a hobby or something that you just love to do takes you such interesting places?
It is. But I tell you what, though, The best place I've ever been is seriously here in Gainesville. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, when you travel, you say, God bless the USA when you get back. But now, as a coach, first of all, I mean, I can understand the gradual shift from athlete to coach and so forth. But now, being involved in the business end of things out there, did you kind of see what needed to be done, and maybe it hurt you a little to see things kind of falling down and not? I mean, some things you just need a little coat of paint on it here and there, but some things need to be tweaked pretty considerably.
Yes, absolutely. Over the years, I see it happening day to day. Since 1996, the venue has just kind of gotten run down a little bit. Now, we've had 2 clubs in there since 1996, the Lake Lanier Rowing Club and the Lanier Canoe Kayak Club, and they've done an exceptional job keeping that venue running as best as they can. Now that the Gainesville Hall 96 board is involved, and Gainesville City and Hall County are involved in making this venue back to its former glory, I think that's really what it needs, is to have support, community support.
And plus somebody in charge.
And somebody in charge.
Yeah, I mean, they got you in there, so you kind of on there. You've seen it as an athlete, you've seen it as a coach. You're there on a day-to-day basis, and you know what needs to be don.
Right. I've seen what needs to be done. I know what needs to be done, and I have the support of a lot of great community leaders on the Gainesville Hall 96 board.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the venue, as I said, has been in continuous use. You have people from all over this hemisphere, and maybe from other hemispheres as well, that come in and train there or work out there because it's such a great facility.
It is. I believe that it is the best race course in the world. The facility is a little bit outdated. Of course, it's nearly 20 years old.
Right.
But we can restore the facility to be even better than the best facilities out there at this time.
What's the major thing you want to get accomplished as quickly as possible?
The first big thing that we need to get accomplished is take a look at the roof. We actually have contractors coming out this week to inspect it and see, is this roof going to last us any longer? Do we need to replace it? Because before we do anything inside the building, we got to make sure it's watertight. Mm-hmm. And throughout the past few years, we've had several major leaks in the roof. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to patch those leaks, but we're not sure if it's completely repaired or not. So that's the first priority, is to make sure the roof is weather tight. Mm-hmm. After that, we're looking at just improving the venue overall. We're looking at getting new docks, possibly updating our air conditioning, heating units, and a lot of this capital things that need to be done.
Just chambermaid kind of stuff that need to be tightened up.
Yes.
The boathouse?
Yes, the boathouse. There's a lot of, like you mentioned before, there's a lot of little things that can be done. A few coats of paint here and there certainly wouldn't hurt. And we have the apron outside of the boathouse is sandy. We'd like to get that maybe replaced with a different type of material. We have an area where the water drains, and when they built the facility, they actually had it drain into the building. And so whenever it rains, we get flooded. So we need to get that repaired as well.
Right. What are some of the major things you got coming up? Now, our buddy Jim Odell sent me an email about that you're going to play host to the first ever Gainesville Hall Dragon Boat Challenge on June the 7th of this year to benefit the Hall County chapter of Special Olympics. That's cool. Dragon boat racing, he notes, is the second most popular participation activity in the world behind soccer. Now, I had no idea. The GHBDC, designed for business, government agencies, churches, neighborhood associations to assemble teams and challenge other like groups. But you've also got people, as I said before we turn on the cameras, Morgan, you mentioned the Canadian team coming in?
Yes, the Canadian team's coming in next weekend.
Okay, and what do? They train? Is this
No, this is their national team trials.
Their national team trials?
Yes. They had options to go anywhere in Canada or in the U.S., and for the past several years, they've only decided to come here to Gainesville.
Well, there's obviously other things around here, because I know I've announced at these national championships, I've announced in Oklahoma City. But there are other amenities and that's probably part of your job too, to push Gainesville and Hall County, all the stuff we've got around here, right?
Exactly.
When do you go out to push, or what do you point out?
Well, one major thing that we have going for us at the venue is Don Carter State Park is right there next to us. And so that offers affordable accommodations and also a lot of great activities to do right there at Don Carter.
As you get ready to do this, now you got the national championships coming back, right?
Yes.
When will that be?
At the end of July.
What do you hope to do, Morgan, with this? I mean, you know, that fixing things up, but what's your ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is to get much larger community involvement. In order for the venue to be successful, it has to be accepted and welcomed, which it has been by the community, but even more involved. we need to have more things happening out there aside from rowing and canoe kayak events.
Well, the Dragon Boat thing is a start on that, and I'll bet you getting kids involved. Just like when you get Little League football and baseball and wrestling and basketball, when you get the kids involved in that, things take off.
Absolutely. You have to have a large base of youth involved, because once they get older, people find other things to do. So got to get kids more involved for sure.
All right. Morgan House, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
The new manager of the Lake Lanier Olympic venue, and we appreciate Morgan coming in, and we wish him good luck in doing all that construction and stuff that they're going to have to do out there. Well, we're going to check in with one of the top-ranked soccer teams around anywhere when Hall County Sports continues.
Mountain View Auto Repair is your local full-service auto repair shop. Trusted with your vehicles for over 20 years, our experience will ensure that your vehicle will stay well-maintained year-round. You can trust our experts in everything from transmissions to brakes to engine repairs and oil changes. So visit owner Danny Hammock and his staff of professionals at 3365 Mountain View Road in Gainesville, or give them a call at 770-535-7278. That's Mountain View Auto Repair for your complete auto service.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Gary Glenn, and this is Hall County Sports. Well, the Johnson soccer boys team began the week after spring break unbeaten and ranked as high in at least one poll as number one in Class AAA statewide. Earlier this week, we had a chance to drop in on Knights head coach Brian Shirley. Well, Brian, you come in this week now, I think, ranked number 2. Now, you had been ranked as high as number 1, but you're kind of flip-flopping with an old nemesis of yours, Dalton, right?
Yes, sir. We have a number 2 ranking in the state right now, and undefeated at 14-0. And Dalton is sitting at number 1 with a 14-0-1 record. So,
but there are people that you've seen and known, not in the region, of course, but you meet them in the playoffs.
Oh yes, they've knocked us out the past 2 years of state, so we know the caliber team they have. So
maybe they should be number 1 right now.
Yes, sir. That's definite.
Tell me about the 14-0 start. Now, this is one of the best starts ever in Johnson soccer history, as far as I know.
I mean, we're holding our own pretty good. We still haven't played a complete 80-minute game yet. There's things from each one of those 14 games that we can improve on. I think the best start school history was a 19-0 or an 18-0 start. Mm-hmm. So there has been one team that's better than that so far. I can't remember the year, but yeah, it was a few years back. But the guys know that we still have room to improve, and hopefully we can be playing our best soccer here in a couple of weeks when state starts.
Well, I mean, that has to be encouraging when you say that you're undefeated and ranked as high as number 2 and one time number 1. And you still haven't played a complete game. That shows you that maybe it's there to be had this year.
We think so. We think we can get a lot of our individual team goals accomplished. It's just a matter of getting in, working hard, and making sure we apply what we're doing on the field from training. That's the big thing. We've been injury-free for the most part this year. It's just execution, making sure we can get out and execute for a full 80 minutes. And second half is always our best half. We're just looking for that initial 40 minutes to come out and play as well as we can in the second half.
To what do you attribute this fast start?
Got good team chemistry. That's the big thing. We started in the summer with summer ball. The guys were sweating, working hard together, playing summer ball tournaments all day long. Waking up the next day just sore as can be, hurting, and I think that started. Getting that chemistry together is playing in the summer and getting on the same page and making sure we want to not fall short like we did last year. Dalton beat us 2-1 in the second round, and we kind of thought that should have been us playing in the final game of the season and not them. So I think the guys were, they bought in, and like our team motto this year is all in, and the guys are just each and every game, just even at practice, just laying it all out on the field, and they're all going all in.
Sound hungry.
Yes, sir. Staying hungry and humble. And, the guys appreciate the recognition of the ranking, but they know that it's not over until the final game of the year, and that's where each and every one of them want to be.
Obviously got some talent too, Coach.
Yes, sir. Leading scorer right now is Luis Del Toro and Fabian Abarca. They're both neck and neck right now for the goal lead. We got attacking threats all over the front end of the field. So, we're doing well as far as the putting the goals in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm. Got a couple of region games left, and one's probably going to wind up being for the region championship.
Yes, sir. We got Madison County coming up on the 15th, and what's looking like a one-loss Lanier team. We'll have to travel to Lanier on April 21st, what could very well potentially be a region title match.
What's it going to take it a little bit further than the second round of the playoffs here?
Execution. We left some goals on the field that we didn't get converted last year in the second round. The ball's got to bounce our way, and we have to execute. And, soccer's a fickle game sometimes. Sometimes the best team doesn't always win. Sometimes you got to have a little luck, too, and we felt like we were a little unlucky the past couple of years in state. And, hopefully the ball will bounce our way, and we can convert on those opportunities that we have in the match.
All right, Coach Brian Shirley Johnson, good luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As you probably know by now, Hall County is home to quite a few ranked soccer teams on both the boys and girls sides these days. I'm back to wrap up this edition of Hall County Sports in just a moment. We are on the set of Hall County Sports Television. I'm Gary Glenn, along with McKelvey Road United Methodist Church Pastor Rob Bruce. And Rob, you've got a sermon series going on through Lent, through the season of Lent, but also some special services here at the church during Holy Week.
We sure do, and we'd like to invite the community to these. The first one is our drama that's going to be held on Maundy, Thursday at 7 p.m. in Stewart Hall, which is called Underneath the Upper Room. It's a drama about the women that waited on the men at the Last Supper with Jesus. We expect it to be exciting, and we'd love to have you join us. Then on Easter, we have 4 services. 7:30 a.m., we have our sunrise service, followed by a pancake breakfast, and then our regular services at 8:30, 10 o'clock, and 11, and we'd love to have you join us if you're looking for a church.
All right. Thank you very much, Rob. We appreciate all that, and we'll see you during Lent and also on Easter Sunday morning.
See you then, Gary.
I'm back, Gary Glenn, Hall County Sports. Now, some baseball highlights from last week, as baseball really was about the only sport going on during spring break week. Pitcher Zach English of West Hall went to 6-0 last week when the Spartans beat White County 4-1, outdueling White County's Spencer Adams, a University of Georgia commitment who probably never play college ball, as he's projected to be a high draft pick in the major leagues. In any event, it was West Hall's 4th straight win. The next time out, though, wasn't quite so lucky for the Spartans as they engaged in a slugfest with Dawson County and lost 14-12 as Colton Chester of the Tigers, who'd hit 2 home runs in Dawson's 3-2 10-inning stunner of top-ranked and previously unbeaten Buford, went 4 for 4 with 4 home runs and 11 RBI. 2-run home run, 3-run home run, 3-run home run, 3-run home run. He also pitched an inning and got the win. Logan Burt hit a 2-run walk-off homer in the bottom of the 7th for the gamer for the Dawson County Tigers. West Hall had tied the game at 12-all in the top of the 7th. Great game. English had homered earlier in the game for the Spartans. And staying with baseball, look at what Jonathan Hughes of Flowery Branch did last week. He threw a no-hitter and struck out 12 along the way to lead Flowery Branch to an 11-0 5-inning Mercy Rule spanking of Appalachian Region 8 5A play. At the plate, Dylan Jibbo had 3 hits. Jibbo had 3 hits, including a homer, to pace the Falcons' offense. Deuce Davidson smacked 4 hits for the Branch. Now, in addition to key region baseball and soccer games this week, some region championships are on tap in tennis and track and field. We'll have more on those on next week's show. Free football camp next week at Riverside Military Academy on May the 6th. RMA is excited to be bringing the Atlanta Falcons camp to the campus. It's a free camp again, offered to all kids ages 6 through 14, and the camp will focus on safety with proper tackling skills and other football fundamentals. Parents will meet with former Falcons linebacker Buddy Curry on the upper level of Curtis Hall for a short informational session, while the kids will be on the soccer field learning safety skills from retired and current Falcon coaches. Some retired and current players may also be present as well. Now, you do have to register, and to attend this camp, you got to register, and it's at atlantafalcons.com/headsupclinics. Again, atlantafalcons.com/headsupclinics. Well, the Gainesville golf community is mourning another loss. Avery Smith, a junior member of the GHS golf team, lost her battle with bone cancer recently. She'd fought the good fight since she'd been a toddler when she'd been diagnosed with a form of kidney cancer. Avery Smith was 17. You may remember back in March, Leanne Noble, a GHS golf alumnus, passed away from heart disease. Thoughts and prayers with the families. Staying on the links, we welcome Walter Hope to the Hole-in-One Club. Walter got his first career ace on April the 6th at Chicopee with a 9-iron on number 4 of the school course. And finally, remember, once again, the McEver Road United Methodist Men's Annual Golf Tournament coming up this Saturday, April the 19th at Mossy Creek Golf Course near Cleveland, beginning with breakfast at 8 a.m. Now, they still need some hole sponsors, $50 a hole. Also, teams of 4 can sign up for $200 if you want to play, and it's a great tournament. Lots of goodie bags and prizes and all that kind of stuff. If you want to play or would like to be a sponsor or you just want some more information on it, contact Lloyd Smee, 770-967-3206. Again, Lloyd Smee, 770-967-3206. That's our show for this week. Join us next week right here for more Hall County Sports. I'm Gary Glenn.